Breaking news, Donald Trump and Speaker Paul Ryan are scheduled to speak on the phone tonight. A Ryan spokesperson told Fox the purpose of the call is to continue the conversation about unity. Trump and Ryan, of course, met in that highly anticipated meeting in Capitol Hill a couple of weeks ago. But the House Speaker is yet to endorse or officially endorse Donald Trump. Joining me now to discuss, Jillian Melchior, Tammy, Ford O'Connell, and Karine Jean-Pierre. Ford, let me go to you on this. It's interesting because I saw a piece floating around that Paul Ryan put out about unity and these kind of things. It almost felt like a presidential ad, to be quite frank with you. So it seems like he's holding his ground on certain things, but he's also understanding the inevitable.
Well, given how fast Republicans are coalescing behind Donald Trump, I mean voters, that is, according to the Wall Street Journal poll, 86% of Republicans are now firmly behind Donald Trump. Paul Ryan can take his time. He does have to endorse him before the convention, but I will say this. Publicizing these meeting of the minds between Trump and Ryan is good to help other GOP voters who may be holdouts on Donald Trump to understand Trump is the man, and eventually he's going to work to make our lives better.
You know, Jillian, some really ardent Donald Trump supporters think that it's too little too late from here on out, that Paul Ryan has made a huge mistake and that he's going to pay politically for it.
Well, I think that's just too bad for them, to be honest. I think a lot of people really appreciate his principled stance that this is about party unity, but not party unity at all costs.
Is it really a principled stance when at the end of the day he probably won't get any of the concessions that he's looking for?
Well, I think he's the first person that's taken Donald Trump on, not easily given him what he wants, and made Donald Trump come to his table. So I think that's a political success on his end. If we're going to have Donald Trump in the White House, we need a strong Congress. I think that's something the American public needs to see, and he's proving to be that leader.
Well, or he could just be a tease, and Mr. Trump has the generosity to engage him in this regard. He needs to grow up. We're 167 days to the general election, and this man is the third in line to the White House, and he is still having conversations to try to be convinced when Donald Trump is a very well-known individual. We've had an entire primary
season. You think it's to be convinced or to get some of his ideology on the platform?
Oh, look, he's going to be chair of the convention. He's the Speaker of the House. These are conversations that grown men who are successful, who know what they want, should be able to have, as opposed to these drawn-out little drips and pieces. This is the kind of politicking that Americans don't like, that has created a dynamic in this country that has ruined people's lives. It is seen as being untrustworthy. It's seen as being double-dealing. And I think that ultimately it will turn out okay, but Paul Ryan will suffer politically in general because this is what we don't like.
You don't think he will, though?
I don't. I think this is the first test of Donald Trump's lauded negotiation skills. And, he's giving him a run for his money.
All right, guys, on the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders, he's battling the Democratic Party, of course, and he's done extraordinarily well, particularly when he talks about the system being rigged. More recently calling out the chairman of the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now she's on thin ice, some even calling her toxic. So will he get her head to appease the party? I want to bring in Karine on this. What do you make of this, that now there's talk of getting rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Will that be the final act of appeasement to get Bernie on board once and for all?
Look, I think that at the end of the day, the only person who can make that decision is going to be the president and the party officials, right? They're the ones who can decide if she stays or if she goes. But look, I mean, there's been some problems, right? She has mismanaged this process. The debate where she hid some of these, about three of the debates on the weekend, knee-deep weekend schedule, and that was a problem, and that hurt not just Sanders but also Clinton and O'Malley. Look, I was part of the O'Malley campaign, and so we dealt with that, and so there's been a lot here that's been totally unfair to the voters of the Democratic Party and the American people in general.
Ford, I hear you wanted to get in. Before you do, Ford, I want to let the audience know, a couple of days ago, an olive branch was given for the DNC convention platform, 6 seats to Hillary, 5 to Bernie Sanders. And by the way, his 5 are like the far left. It's like the Hall of Fame of radical leftism. And 4 seats go to the chair. If they do put in a chair who sees more eye to eye with Bernie Sanders, he de facto takes over the whole thing.
Well, you're absolutely right. Look, understand, Bernie's political agitation's paying off. He's got Hillary Clinton by the pantsuit. Understand that his voters, may decide this election, even though Bernie Sanders' name is not on the ballot. You got to dump Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Clinton has to get someone loyal to him, and what she has to do is get Barack Obama to push who she wants, because if they don't change chairs, basically the Sanders supporters are going to say the Democratic Party is tone deaf.
How do you see this finally working itself out?
I feel so bad for her. I think she made a point.
For who? Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
I actually do.
No No way.
I think she made an error. I think she decided that this was
An error? What about her personality, though, Jillian?
Her personality is really abrasive, but I think, like many Democrats, she decided that this was going to be a coronation, and there was every indication. Bernie Sanders is given a race that's a run for her money. She's paying the price for Hillary Clinton being a fundamentally undesirable and flawed candidate, and I think she's, taken the bullet on this one.
And she is, at the same time, she is indicating how disloyal she is. Remember, in 2008, she was on the co-chair of Hillary's team. When it appeared that Barack Obama was doing better, she called his team and said, I'm ready to work with you when you need me. That is a betrayal issue. It's about loyalty. This is who that woman is, and she has never really been liked. She never meets with Obama. It's time for them to get someone that everyone can trust.
Karine, rather, who would that be? I want to go to you last on this. Who do you think is the person that can maybe turn this thing around?
That's a good question. Look, at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders wants to beat Donald Trump, and he said that he's going to unify behind if she's the nominee, and I think that's where we are at the end of the day. So I don't know, but that's a really good question.
I know he's shattering this thing in a million pieces, and he thinks he's going to put it back together. Maybe too little, too late. All right, you guys are all fantastic.